Hi, I'm Melinda Hinneberger, and this is the video version of Politics Daily's Woman Up Women's blog. Today we're discussing the horrible tragedy still unfolding in Haiti and the horrible politicizing of it here in this country. First, Pat Robertson said on the 700 Club that the earthquake was the result of a pact with the devil that Haitian slaves made to gain their freedom from the French 2 centuries ago, when one would think that God would have been on the side of the slaves rather than the slave owners. Then Rush Limbaugh, sufficiently recovered from his heart palpitations to stir up some fresh trouble, said this tragedy was a real political godsend for Obama. This will play right into Obama's hands. Humanitarian, compassionate, it's made to order for him, Limbaugh said. Finally, MSNBC's Keith Olbermann got in on the action, saying Robertson and Limbaugh's comments, "I wish you to hell," he said of those gentlemen. "I suspect the vacant, purposeless lives you both lead now are hell enough already." In other words, doing exactly what he was criticizing them for doing. Is there any tragedy too devastating to turn into a political talking point, Patricia Murphy?
Not for some people. For some people, actually, turning all of this into a political talking point is good for them. And I want to take this moment to say, I think there are too many men on television. There are too many women on talk shows.
Well, we're doing what we can.
I don't think a woman would be this ridiculous, this disgusting, this completely nauseating in response to something that's a genuine tragedy. So there's my plug, too many men on television and on Sunday shows. Like, just where are the women? That's my first point. My second point is that even in Washington, not only are there not bad consequences to pay, there are good rewards for being ridiculous, hateful, and
outrageous.
Nasty. And look at Joe Wilson calling the president a liar, looking at the Democrat whose name I can't remember, saying that Republicans are murderers on the House floor. Both of them raised multi-million dollars for their own campaigns after they took the step across the line to being completely disgusting. And I would love that to change.
Look at Rush Limbaugh's background. He's a PR man. He's a PR man who got a radio gig, you know. He knows how to generate controversy, which turns into ratings.
And I
he gets
so
great
agree
ratings.
with what you said on how that affects ordinary discourse as well, because we see these famous people making a living, a good living, and getting a lot of attention for making these completely outrageous comments. And so we think maybe that will work for me on the internet.
The more disgusting, the better, America. Welcome.
So, Emily Miller, do you think that they're absent this kind of orchestrated outrage from both left and right to some degree on this issue? Is there, you know, we were saying before, nobody's for the earthquake, right? So, so is there consensus that we ought to be what we think of as genuine Americans in this moment and reach out to help Haiti? Is there a real consensus on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is just, we're just talking about the fringe when we're talking about these people making these comments, and just it's outrageous. And I mean, I was in Southeast Asia with Secretary of State Colin Powell after the tsunami, and I've never been more proud of being an American, because every place we went, I mean, kids were wearing USA hats, and we had aircraft carrier offshore, and we were providing the food, we were providing the water. And the medical aid, and it was, you know, this is what America does best. It's, you know, and Rush Limbaugh's comments about President Obama are exactly right. It is compassionate, it is loving, it is human kindness that we do.
Not sure he meant it quite that way.
I don't think he did, but I agree with him completely. I just don't agree with what he meant by it. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is, as you know, God, I wish this hadn't happened, and it's one of the worst places for it to happen. And I've been to Haiti, and it looked like an earthquake before the earthquake, the level of poverty. But that being said, we shouldn't be, obviously no one should be politicizing this. This is what America does best, is
at a moment like this, I think we see the best of America and the downside. The best is that we open our hearts. The first impulse, I think, for us is to see how we can help and try to figure out the best way to help. But then we have that short attention span that we don't always stay focused on those efforts, unfortunately. Rhea Misra, what do you think? Obama has been criticized by some for choosing to ask George W. Bush as well as former President Clinton to work together on humanitarian efforts. Do you think, because of his mishandling of Katrina, do you think that that's fair commentary, or is this a good move he made?
I think it was actually a good move to pull in from both sides of the aisle. And I think that for the people who are making this into a political issue, like Pat Robertson, Rush Limbaugh, it is going to backfire. It is going to come back because I think Americans on all sides are very much anti-earthquake and are very concerned about what happened and want to help out in any way that they can. So I do think that while they may get a lot of attention for these remarks, it's not necessarily good attention.
You know, there has been some pushback from people who say suffered through Katrina, who are saying, wait, before we give away the store to Haiti, not that I think we're, you know, what we've offered so far I think is a drop in the bucket and we should do more, but, you know, we do have very pressing domestic needs here. So what about that point of view that while New Orleans still remains unbuilt, while Galveston, Texas, which got a lot less attention even than New Orleans, still has incredible needs after their problem. What about that point of view, do you think, Bonnie Urbe?
I think it exists, but it's pretty small in number. We've spent, by the latest reckoning, more than $1 billion on the Gulf Coast and Katrina, and we're sending $100 million, 1/10 of that. Again, our opening offer. Which, by the way, I think will go up and up because the EU is already talking about $5 billion for reconstruction for Haiti. But I'd like to say something about the disaster itself, which if this is not a wake-up call for education in that country, the aid, in my humble opinion, yes, obviously restoring food and water, but this is a country of 10 million people that cannot support itself agriculturally. The poorest in the Western Hemisphere, or the second poorest, depending by which list you're going by, the most highly uneducated population. This wouldn't have happened if the population were better educated, wealthier, and were able to build earthquake-proof buildings as they should have.
And if we had kept our focus on helping Haiti when we last promised to do so. I thought we had a fantastic piece today. I hope you all saw by C.S. Manigault on Haiti, saying not only was this not a pact with the devil that created Haiti as a country, but they have this incredibly brave history for throwing off the former French slaveholders that we ought to really honor. So on that note, I thank you very much for joining us today on Woman Up, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.